Hey, AR fam, it's me, Sushant.
Hey, it's me, Luke. How's it going?
Luke is just he's still processing a movie that we just watched. We just watched
Right.
Salaar Part 1,
Yes.
Ceasefire. It's a Telugu language film, of course, and it actually came out relatively recently, December 22nd, 2023. So it made its way to streaming very quickly, and quite a ride is what I would start
Yeah.
with.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
It's on Netflix now, so if you want to go watch it, go ahead. Also,
Absolutely.
it is on our Patreon if you'd like to watch it with us, because we just
Yes.
finished watching it. We're watching Salaar, and we're... Oh, he's going to mess you up.
చెప్పు
ఇవ్వరా
For anyone watching, Luke and I are just not intelligent people.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
going right over our heads.
Right over our heads, yeah. So Prabhas, the guy they introduced, that actor,
బయట ఎవరైనా ఉన్నారా
that's
Yeah.
Salaar.
Right. Okay.
So not the
Okay.
computer guy.
Pieces are falling into place now. The computer
Yes.
guy looked really important, but I think he's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
నువ్వు ఎప్పుడు మాతోనే ఆడుతుంటావు నీకు ఫ్రెండ్స్
I was
ఎవరు లేరా
playing.
Haha, burn! Get your own friends, you
Yeah,
loser.
come on, you're too old for this shit. Okay, oh, that was his friend that he doesn't have anymore.
Yeah.
Where's my
Now
friend?
that's sad. Now I feel bad for laughing at him.
I know. Yeah, the lights.
Whoa!
Wow.
Nice.
నవాడేటోళ్ళ దగ్గర టాటా సఫారీ
That's
లాస్ట్ కనిపించింది
awesome.
తర్వాత ఎటుపక్కెళ్ళిందో తెలియదు
Stop the seal.
Stop the
The seal. Oh my god.
I wonder how many guys supernaturally fly through the air in this movie. Probably a lot.
Oh. Nearly all of them. Whether you're
nearly
attacking or
all
being
of them.
attacked.
Yeah.
తీసుకెళ్ళిపో బిలాల్
She's asking for a lot.
Yeah. I'm wondering the exact same things though, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that they ask the questions that we have.
Right.
Like,
That makes me
who
feel
are
better
you?
about not knowing.
Why are you here? Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was told explosions, and explosions are what I got.
Explosions are- Yep. We were as promised.
నీ చేతి వంట తిని చాలా రోజులైంది
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
Is it just me, or there's something about the the music and the way it's cut? Every scene feels like it's the final scene of the movie.
Right, right.
Like I'm like, oh, you could end here.
Yeah, clean up after yourselves.
అంతేగా
It's very bright colors for in contrast with the rest of the city.
Everything else, agreed. That's interesting.
There he is. About time.
It's about time. I was gonna say, this feels like I haven't seen him do too much.
Right.
Skewer over here.
A little skewer action. All right.
Wow. What? That's visually amazing.
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah.
They want it.
They all agree.
They want it. This is a really cool little scene right here.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Again, these chairs do not look comfy at all.
Some of them probably want to get kicked off as well. So
Right.
I don't want to sit on his chair
I'm
anymore.
trying to get out of here, y'all. You want this?
Hurt his friends.
Exactly.
Whoa!
Oh, oh, the hand! Oh, no.
My gosh.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I was expecting from this movie, but it definitely wasn't zombies. We had an
They make a good duo.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a quick one. He's like really
Right.
like quick and agile. The other guy's a little more.
Yeah, he's like the more like the
Yeah.
Heath type, and then the
Yeah.
other guy's the barbarian. Yeah. Can you guess who it is? Can you guess? Can you guess?
I don't. Oh.
If,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like that kind of ended with a trailer for the next one. And I
Absolutely.
am amped after seeing that. Oh my goodness, that
I know.
that was a crazy movie.
What a wild ride. I think, I mean, I'm going to start first off by giving a bit of a, Rima likes to give shout outs on this channel. So I'm going to give two shout outs. I'm going to give a shout out to
Yeah.
Prabhas, and I'm going to give a shout out to Prithviraj, the two main, stars of the film, because when they get introduced immediately, not just the way they're filmed, but their presence and stuff in general, larger than
Oh, yeah.
life,
Big time.
as you'd expect. I think that's kind of what this film really is. There's so much. It's so much about a showcase for them, really, more than anything else.
Right.
We'll get into a
And just
variety
kind of
of
how
things. Yeah.
he's got like, demon like powers, and that's kind of
Mm.
like this whole thing that builds the story around him and like what he does. So
Yeah.
you can see that.
Yeah, you buy into
from
their
his
aura,
first
and
entrance.
exactly, and really gorgeously filmed. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the action too, I will say, is very well put together. I mean, whether it's the bone crunching sound and stuff like that, of course, because this is an incredibly violent film. But in spite of that,
Right.
there were moments where Luke and I were really like in shock and awe with what we were witnessing around the action stuff, for sure.
The music, yeah, all the music and the different cuts really like add to this full like feeling of all the suspension and the builds. It really adds a lot to the movie. For sure.
I
It gives
know.
it that extra push.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, as I said, makes the two stars feel larger than life, which I think is
Yeah.
is very, very common in Indian cinema, especially in South Indian cinema. And so I'm not at all surprised that they do that and they elevate it completely in this one, for sure.
Big time.
Yes, Luke, you were going to say.
Things that we didn't necessarily like as much.
Yes.
We kind of got confused throughout some parts. I felt like there were two stories going on, and so that kind of got jumbled around. I really wish they stuck to one story, and I realized that they're trying to set up part two a lot, but
Yes.
the first part is kind of all dedicated to part two, and it felt like there could have been a better way of doing that.
I agree. I think yes, there are a lot of loose threads and things left over, but I think additionally so much happens in part one that it's almost difficult to keep up with from the perspective of Luke and I. If you happen to be on Patreon and check out our watch along, you can see in that first 30 minutes we are pretty confused with regards to what is important, what is, to the point that who is who. Like something as simple as like, the film starting like when the main characters are very young, and then we move forward in time. There isn't really anything to connect that for us to know who is who, really, in terms of the two characters that we're following in the beginning. Are they the people we're looking at? Turns out they're not. There's just a whole new set of characters and just things of that nature that really
There's a lot of names too. You have to keep track of everyone's name.
It unfortunately made a already complex story just all that more difficult to follow. And I don't think that's necessarily the nature of it, just having a lot of information. It truly was something that just, I think from the way the film was presented, it could have been more efficient with, a little bit better about, making those things clear, for sure.
Like there are sections where like they have to do a plot dump, and I'm just having to like super focus in like, oh my gosh, there's so much important information.
Yes.
But I will admit, after they do the plot dump, I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Okay, yeah, let's get it. Let's get into it.
It has a
redeeming quality.
Exactly. It has a cool thing of like, okay, here are the objectives, and as you're sort of setting those up, it's a lot of information. But then when you get to the part where the objectives are happening, you're like, okay, cool. This is interesting. This is fun. So I do agree with Luke. I will say though, to that point, there's certain like montagey moments in the film that like are almost cut together like film trailers. So it's very much like they raise the stakes. It has that energy to it, but it happens maybe like 5 times in this movie that it's almost hard to pick up on like how important is this? versus what we just saw versus what we're going to see. Like it almost
Right.
is trying to raise the stakes after a point with it feeling kind of
And then it just kind of gets to be like, yeah, I get it. He's cool. He kills all the bad guys. Yeah.
exactly. It doesn't quite feel like it hits that mark in terms of that purpose really being fulfilled. And that's kind of a bummer because there's a lot of other cool stuff to watch. A lot of great, I mean, the score and everything, especially in those moments, like is very dramatic. But outside of that, it does a really good job of keeping the action, really gripping, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure,
Mhm.
for sure.
I think the directing, like the character choices, a lot of like the side characters, they really give like so much emotion, just like raw, either like some guy's laughing maniacally or someone screaming on the floor, lots of raw emotions that you're seeing in this movie, which I thought is really interesting. And it fits, with the
Definitely.
whole violent city and all that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's definitely a lot that we can't say without spoiling the film. So you would obviously have to get to our spoiler review of this movie. But Luke, do you have any other thoughts, potentially any final thoughts? How are you feeling? What else do you want to get out there?
yeah. One more thing before I end up on the final thoughts. I did love the directing and like the cuts. There were lots of things where they would kind of cut in between and have like to a blank screen and then to something else blank screen. I thought that was really cool. Although maybe sometimes it did get a little bit too complicated and you can lose me.
Yeah, sure.
But overall, I did enjoy it. I would put it out of my total, movie rating. I would put it at I enjoyed the movie, but wouldn't necessarily watch it a second time. I feel like I got my maximum, enjoyment out of it. So
it is I feel similar in the sense that like I enjoyed the experience of watching it, but it is quite an overwhelming experience. It is big, but overwhelming not necessarily in a way of like, oh, this film is meant to feel overwhelming and make you anxious and relate to like what the characters are feeling. It's just overwhelming in terms of the way it displays its information, I think. And that kind of like, it just like I personally had a difficult time following it, and that's just kind of it. And I'm intrigued for part 2 though, because I feel like it does do a good job of setting up a lot. The film does a very good job of setting up things. The first half sets up a lot for the second half in similar fashion.
I feel like that's most of the movie, really. Just setting up the second movie.
It's just setting up the second half, and then this first movie is just setting up the second movie. So it's like, it's very good at, telling you what's to come, sometimes at the expense of what's going on, but it's usually very good at telling you what's to come. And so I am very excited for part 2. I definitely am.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
All right, everyone on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. You can find the spoilers version after you've watched it, of course, on YouTube.
Yes.
Join that Patreon. Make sure to like and subscribe and let us know if you want us to watch that second one and let out a review.
Yes.
But you can follow either of us with the information down below. And we will see all of you lovely people next time.
Goodbye.